Ladies and gentlemen, what we are witnessing tonight is not just a tragedy, it is a crisis that confronts the very conscience of the world. Across the globe, condemnation is mounting. The humanitarian disaster unfolding in Gaza has reached breaking point. Even the Secretary-General of the United Nations has described it as a moral crisis, a crisis that demands our attention, our empathy, and above all, our action. Among the many voices speaking out, Secure Star has issued a particularly stark statement. The images emerging from Gaza, they said, are utterly horrifying. And they are right. Images of starving children and desperate families, images no human being should have to witness, let alone endure. In response to the growing emergency, the United Kingdom has taken a stand, committing to evacuate critically ill children from Gaza, children who are in urgent need of medical attention and care we can provide. Meanwhile, the Israeli government has stated it will allow foreign governments to begin airdropping humanitarian aid into Gaza in the coming days. But aid agencies, those on the front lines, have made it clear, this simply isn't enough. A few airdrops won't save lives when an entire population is on the brink. Without sustained, unrestricted aid, the most vulnerable, children, the elderly, the sick, will continue to die. Not by bombs or bullets, but by hunger. Let's not forget, Israel maintains control over all the official border crossings into Gaza. It decides what comes in and what does not. And while Israeli officials claim the starvation is not of their making, placing the blame squarely on Hamas for stealing aid, humanitarian organizations, those who've worked in war zones for decades, argue otherwise. They say this blockade, this stranglehold on Gaza, is what's truly fueling the crisis. Now, let me tell you this, journalists are not allowed into Gaza. We are blocked from reporting firsthand. The only voices we have, the only lens into this suffering, come from Palestinian freelancers already living inside Gaza. Many of them starving themselves. And yet, they continue to report, to document, to bear witness to the unimaginable. One of those images, which has now gone viral across the globe, is that of a young boy. Mohammed, just 18 months old.
This image of a starving boy and his mother in Gaza has been seen by millions around the world. His name is Mohammed, he's 18 months old, and he weighs 6 kilos. His mother, Hidayah al-Mutawi, has lost her home and her husband, who was killed, and Mohammed and many others will not survive much longer unless unrestricted aid starts flowing into Gaza.
He can't stand up on his feet or sit because of the fatigue. We can't get baby formula from Mo because the prices are too high. I go from one hospital to another trying to get him formula, but I can hardly find any.
He weighs only 6 kilograms. His tiny body is frail, his eyes vacant from exhaustion. His mother, Hidayah al-Mutawi, cradles him. She's already lost her home. Her husband, killed. And now, she fears her son is slipping away. She told us, he can't even sit or stand. He's too weak. We can't afford baby formula. Prices are too high. I go from hospital to hospital, just hoping to find some, but there's nothing left. Think about that. A mother wandering hospitals, praying for a tin of formula. These images were captured by one of our trusted local journalists, someone we've worked with for years. Someone now relying on scraps of food, just like the people he films. Since we can't enter Gaza, we went as close as we could, to the border town of Sderot in Israel. From there, you can see across the divide. Not far in distance, but a world away in experience, Sderot was one of the towns attacked by Hamas on the 7th of October 2023. Civilians were killed there. And now, it's become a viewing point. Israelis come to look across the border, across the war. Vending machines have even been installed, a surreal touch against the sound of distant artillery and the knowledge that just miles away, people are starving to death. From this spot, the contrast couldn't be starker.
I witnessed the Israeli Defense Forces shooting at the crowds of Palestinians. I witnessed the Israeli Defense Forces firing a main gun tank round from the Merkava tank into a crowd of people, destroying a car of civilians that were simply driving away from the site.
Two realities. Two truths. The Israeli government, backed by the United States, insists there is enough food in Gaza. They say if people are starving, it's because Hamas has hijacked the aid. They blame the UN and others for not distributing it properly, but the other version, the one told by Britain, France, aid workers, and humanitarians, is very different. They say the blockade itself, the limitations imposed on food and medicine, is causing a man-made catastrophe. And not just hunger. Starvation. Children wasting away. Babies dying before their first birthday, inside Gaza. Scenes at food distribution points look like war zones. In one video, dust is flying as bullets strike the ground, with people diving for cover, not from enemy fire, but from those supposedly there to help. This site was managed by the so-called Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, a joint American-Israeli effort created to replace the UN and allegedly ensure food doesn't fall into Hamas's hands. Yet the footage we've seen shows American guards, heavily armed, opening fire near civilians. In one clip, a voice calmly says, "I think you hit one." That footage came from Lieutenant Colonel Anthony Aguilar, a former U.S. Green Beret. He signed up to help with aid logistics in Gaza. But he left. Resigned. And now, he's speaking out. From just outside the Gaza border, Aguilar gave his account. "I saw Israeli Defense Forces shoot into crowds. I saw tank shells fired at cars filled with civilians, people just trying to escape. Mortars were used on unarmed people."
What was your professional opinion of what was happening?
My professional opinion of how the sites were established was what I would describe as amateur. Inexperienced, untrained, no idea of how to conduct operations of this magnitude. That would be my most benign assessment. In my most frank assessment, I would say that they're criminal. In my entire career, have I never witnessed the level of brutality and use of indiscriminate and unnecessary force against a civilian population, an unarmed, starving population. I've never witnessed that in all of the places I've been deployed to war until I was in Gaza at the hands of the IDF and U.S. contractors.
Starvation doesn't kill quickly. But it kills inevitably. It strips away strength day by day until the body can take no more. And in Gaza, that tipping point is here. The deaths are rising. The weakest are fading fast, despite repeated denials by Israel that civilians are being targeted. Mounting footage and eyewitness reports tell another story, a story of routine harm, not by accident, but by policy. In Gaza, starvation isn't just a byproduct of war. It is becoming a weapon of it.